Daniel Defense, plastic bag, Aero Precision, sexy cardboard box. I'm doing another build on an Aero lower. On my first one, I was chasing a tighter fitting tube, and I tried a Daniel Defense and a BCM, and I settled on a Battle Arms Development. I think that the threads were just loose on that lower. I decided to give Daniel Defense another try because the last tube was really pretty. This one looks quite different. It's got these tool marks, some dings, you know, nothing crazy, but it's not that pretty. And then even though it fit the lower well, I got to the bore and it's hard to get this to focus down in there, but take my word for it, it gets pretty rough after the first inch. As far as the anodizing goes, I always check the bottom and it looks like it's all the way down, but it's just thin. So when they coat them, I assume they hold them this way because often you get air bubbles, which I don't think you would get this way, right? And sometimes they're missing anodizing, which you'll see on the Aero. There was an air bubble. If there's any anodizing down there on the right side at all, it's very thin. But that's whatever. The interior is very smooth. It's obviously more reflective because there's no dry film lube, which I don't really care about. Very smooth. And I can't get my nail on it anyway, but you know, it's not even that it's rough on top where the spring's gonna ride, but you got some grooves and it's just an ugly look. So I think the threads are better on this lower anyway than my last Aero. I'm gonna use the Aero tube, and then I bought two of them. I'm gonna put the other one on the previous Aero lower, see if that tightens things out, because I really do think it was mostly the lower's fault. And both of these fit pretty good. The Aero one fits better. I never liked the Aero tubes because they had odd features like large drain holes. Looked like you could smoke a cigarette through the thing. And this angle was like a 45. But right now, other than this little undercut here, it's basically identical, just nicer quality. That's a great fit, and of course it's gonna match the finish. I'm almost exclusively using Aero parts, besides handguards and barrels and bolts. I mean, the quality's fantastic. If you don't have one of these yet, I recommend it, but I'd probably recommend you buy the one that has some other kind of logo and doesn't have one on the right side. Just the way they treat the flash here, like it was never there. I've never seen any chatter from broaching on the magwell. And got a hell of a deal on this. Optics Planet, it was like $48, 48 change before tax for two of them. This little chamfer, that's a nice touch. It doesn't do anything, but it just looks cool. So I've learned that if you call them and ask them for a deal, especially if you have a figure in mind, they'll give you fantastic deals just about every time. So I don't care if I have to wait for months for stuff to get back into stock or anything like that, because I'm getting 15, 20, 30% off just for the asking. Now the thread tips are taller on this Daniel Defense. Maybe I have that backwards. Yeah. So it's flatter on the tip, which is not an area that does anything, but there's more meat in between on the bevel surfaces. So pretty stoked.